Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's talk about the Aggressor. Finally got an Aggressor preview today. The TIE Aggressor is coming hopefully soon, even though according to the website they just went to the printer, but I hope there's, it's a really quick print run, or I hope it was like updated, the status was updated late, because we really want Wave 11 as soon as possible. But they finally gave us our preview of the TIE Aggressor, so let's take a look at this thing. First off, I want to talk about the ship stats itself. Funniest thing is that it is a TIE Aggressor. It has the word Aggressor in the title, so it's got some people saying, hey, can I use the IG-2000 title with it? I don't think there's a chance in hell that you'll be able to put the IG-2000 title on it. I would bet money that this would end up being an FAQ. No, you cannot put the IG-2000 title on it. But if you could, oh man, because the rules as written, of course you can, because it says Aggressor, it has the full name. This is not the TIE Advanced Prototype argument all over again. And I lost that argument too. I wanted you to be able to put the X1 on the TIE Advanced Prototype because we all knew ADV stood for Advanced, but I digress. Let's talk about the Aggressor, the TIE Aggressor. All right, so this is the first Imperial ship that can take a turret, so that's really cool. It also has double missile slots. Pretty cool. It has 2 attack, 2 agility, 4 hull, 1 shield. It can focus, target lock, and barrel roll. So that's not bad. And our cheapest one is the Sinar Specialist. He comes in at only 17 points. So that's not a bad price point for the ship that can be equipped so very fancilish. Fancilish. I just made that word up, but it means a fancy way to equip a ship in X-Wing. Fancilish. It's going to be trending now. Hashtag fancilish. All right, so the Sinar Specialist is actually not bad. Not bad at all. But what is more juicy is our Onyx Squadron Escort at Pilot Skill 5 for only 19 points. It's very competitively priced. And when I look at this ship and I did the math and I'm like, wow, I can put 4 of these each with twin laser turret. Now, that's pretty nuts. Because that beats basically all of the, like, if you were, granted, it's not the current meta right now, but if you were to compete with the older meta of Gold Squadron, or basically Pilot Skill 4 Y-Wings with TLT, you would be able to shoot first, and this would definitely give you an advantage over them. Alright, on to the rest of the pilots. We've also got a Pilot Skill 4 with an EPT for the same price, at 19 points, and his name is Double Edge, or her name is Double Edge, and Double Edge is pretty cool for one, being Pilot Skill 4, which is pretty awesome. We still to have an EPT. It makes me think Snapshot. Like it's a really cool candidate for Snapshot because you don't see that many real low pilot skills with an EPT. It's kind of rare, so I think that's pretty cool, especially for this type of platform with the things you can put on it. But then also, it's got this cool ability of once per round, after you perform a secondary weapon attack that does not hit, you can then perform an attack with a different weapon. So it's kind of built-in gunner, but your first attack has to be with a secondary weapon, which makes it a great combo with some of the other upgrades that we're going to talk about, such as unguided rockets. But we're going to get to those in a little bit. But very cool. I just like the EPT, and for that cheap price point too, and pretty cool built-in ability. Naturally, this is the type of ship that you'd want to have a secondary weapon on. Anyway, it's built for the secondary weapons, and it has multiple options. So great option for something like that. Next are PS7, Lieutenant Kestel. Lieutenant Kestel comes in at 22 points, also has the EPT you would expect, and when attacking you may spend a focus token to cancel all of the defender's blank and eyeball results. Now this is pretty big. This is pretty big because at first glance, some players might say, well, what do I want to cancel their blank and eyeball results? They can't do anything with those anyway. Well, it's important to remember that you modify your opponent's dice first, and then they can modify their own dice. So that makes this very, very nasty because you can get rid of their eyeballs before they can spend their focus. It makes basically a focus pointless for them, or anything for them to like maybe re-roll blank dice. So their first shot of getting evades is their only shot. And when this article first came out, they were saying, oh well, if you give it juke also, then you can also make it even more powerful. Except currently there's no way to give this guy an evade except through another EPT, so you wouldn't be able to then also have juke. So, but even without having juke, it's still a very nice ability. And some people have pointed out this will actually make him a really good TLT platform because it would totally wipe out auto thrusters. Auto thrusters, it kind of works off of those blanks, and it basically is a hard counter to auto thrusters. Granted, it's not really being used too much anymore, but if you wanted to have one that was more likely to get the damage through, then this is a pretty good candidate for that. And it's kind of a shame he doesn't have the evade that he couldn't do, but it's also important to work out that this works on secondary weapons as well as missiles. If you shoot missiles and stuff, you can still use this same ability. It's not just for a primary weapon attack. So whatever you put on this guy, he gets to use that ability. I think it's going to be very strong. He's definitely the strongest pilot, although he's only at a pilot skill 7, so I think that's going to kind of limit just how powerful he can become, but very, very nice. Now let's talk about the upgrades. I'm not going to talk about stuff that's already out because it also comes with some things like lightweight frame and TLT, which we've already seen, but I want to talk about the new stuff. So I already mentioned unguided rockets. Let's talk about unguided rockets. I love this upgrade. It requires 2 missile slots, and so that's, first off, that's limiting where it can go. Not that many ships have 2 missile slots. But it's a really cool ability because it's got 3 attack dice and it works at all 3 ranges, 1, 2, and 3. And it only costs 2 points. So a whole lot of good things going for this card right out the gate. It also only requires a focus in order to attack. So that's awesome, because most ordnance you need a target lock, and most ordnance you have to spend your target lock just to fire it. This is one that you just have to have a focus, and you don't have to spend the focus to fire it. And one of the best parts about this is it doesn't exhaust. This is the first missile that doesn't exhaust. So once you attack with it, you get to keep it for next round. You can fire with this every round if you want to. That's awesome. So basically, it does have a drawback, though, is that your attack dice cannot be modified, but rather they can only be modified by spending a focus token for this regular effect. So you can focus all your eyeballs to hits, no problem, but you can't reroll dice. You can't do anything special to modify your dice. You can't use guidance chips on this. You can't use anything else that's going to modify stuff. The only thing you can do is a regular focus, which is fine because at least you can do something. But here's the double-edged sword to that. Your opponent can't modify your dice either. So if they've got something to turn your attack hits into eyeballs or something to kind of screw you up, well, they can't do it. If they got something that can try to cancel one of your attack dice, they can't do that either. So it makes unguided rockets actually really, really good. And that's why I said they were such a good thing for double edge, because he's got that built-in gunner for secondary weapons. If he happens to just roll a couple of blanks and has a terrible shot with these unguided rockets, he mitigates that risk by having the secondary shot, so he can shoot with his normal weapon after. So that's kind of cool. But even so, this also works on on bombers. There's other ways that you can use this. It doesn't have to just go on the aggressor. Imagine this on Tomax Bren with crack shot. So now, because Tomax Bren's going to be able to get crack shot back every turn. So now he can take a focus, fire this, turn his focuses to hits. Maybe he gets 3 hits at long range, and maybe you roll 1 evade, but then he crack shots your evade. So he's more likely to get damage through, and this makes Tomax Bren potentially a force. That's just something to think about. Let's talk about Synced Turret. Now, Synced Turret is pretty cool. It doesn't seem overpowered to me at all. It's maybe even a little underwhelming, which I'm fine with because turrets are already strong enough as they are. Now this one costs 4, so it's not as cheap as some of the other stuff we've seen, but 4 it still isn't too bad. It's kind of middle of the road. Now it rolls 3 dice, but only at ranges 1 to 2, which is reasonable for a turret. Most turrets don't go out to range 3, unlike the TLT. Right? But the Synced Turret does require a target lock for you to shoot. Now it says you can attack a ship even outside your firing arc, but if they're inside your firing arc, you get to also re-roll any dice up to your primary weapon value. So for most ships that are taking a turret, they'll get to re-roll 2 dice. So that's pretty cool. That gives you automatic, you don't have to spend the target lock in order to re-roll those dice. And then of course, if you rolled all 3 blanks, you could then, if you wanted to spend your target lock to re-roll that 3rd die, you could potentially do that as well. But this is, this is a pretty cool thing, and I think it would really work well with Y-Wings, with the BTL. Imagine Dutch, and then just another Y-Wing. So that, that's a potential way to use this. But I don't see a whole lot of uses for Synced Turret right now that seem really, really good or better than other turrets that already exist. But it's not bad. It's definitely going to find some uses, and I would probably run it with Dutch, and potentially another Y-Wing. So this way your other Y-Wing can focus and then get the free target lock. And so they got the target lock to spend, they can focus, they got the rerolls, they get all that good stuff. BTL title, attacking multiple times, it's gold. It's gold. So Synced Turret could be real nice. And I don't think it's too crazy though. I'm not crazy to get this on the table and try Synced Turret, but I would try it. So probably the most underwhelming card in the set is the Synced Turret, maybe. I don't know. But speaking of underwhelming, let's talk about overwhelming. Intensity. Intensity is like the most talked about card right now. It's huge. So Intensity, first off, it's a dual card. So we've got two sides, Intensity and Intensity Exhausted. But we're going to talk about the first side first, because this is the money side. This is your money maker. It's an EPT. It's small ship only, and that's important because when this first came out, everybody was like, oh, I want to put it on this ship and this ship. No, 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 no. Small ship only. So only costs 2, which is really, really good for an EPT. It only costs 2. And after you perform a boost or barrel roll action, you may assign 1 focus or evade token to your ship. Then flip this card. So free focus or free evade, and this is a way to get an evade on ships that couldn't otherwise get an evade, like the TIE Aggressor, for example. So that's cool. So free evade or focus, depending on what you want. And then the thing is, you're not taking the action. So maybe you did a focus action with somebody like Jake Farrell, who was like the dream person to put this thing on. And then, you know, maybe you've already done a focus. This will give you another focus token because it's not a focus action. You're not doing the focus action. So you can potentially get more than 1 token this way. So that's pretty cool. But it's really nice. But now here's the thing. When you flip it over, it doesn't do the same thing, but you can flip it back. It said basically, here's Intensity Exhausted. It says at the end of the combat phase, you may spend 1 focus or evade token to flip this card. So chances are maybe if you don't get shot, you can flip it over right away, but if you do need it, no problem, it was worth it. There is a whole lot of pilots that this is just going to go really, really well with. Obviously, Jake Farrell, he's got all kinds of movement shenanigans. There's just so many combos where he can, you know, boost, you know, get the focus from this, then barrel roll, then, you know, take an evade. That's just not, because it's not limited. It's not limited to once per round. So if you can boost and barrel roll, gosh, this is going to make... I mean, Jake Farrell's already a pretty good pilot. Like, I don't know if he really needed a boost. I don't know if this was targeted towards him, but this is nuts. But there's all kinds of other ways to use this besides just Jake, right? R7T1, pretty cool. So anybody who can take an astromech might want to have R7T1 on there because now they can get like 3 actions for 1. So that's pretty cool. Guri, I really like Star Vipers. I don't fly them as much because they're not that great. And one of the things I wish they could get is an evade. And here's a way for Guri or Zizor to get an evade, but it's probably better on... Guri's kind of like the premier Star Viper pilot. So if you're running with her, you can really maximize what you're doing. And I just think this is great for higher pilot skill pilots who might not otherwise want to do a maneuverability because they really want their green tokens. This is just a way. So look at Poe. Poe's a great option for something like this because chances are he's not going to spend his focus anyway. So now Poe can boost and get his focus. He doesn't have to spend the focus to get the benefits from it. And then at the end of combat phase, he can flip this right back over. So he can use this every turn. That's cool. That's really cool. Darth Vader was one of the first ones some people brought up, and as a Vader lover, as a TIE Advanced lover, I love this because now it turns Vader's 2 actions into potentially 3. One of the things Vader doesn't usually want to barrel roll that often, but sometimes I'll give him engine upgrade. You know, it's hard with the X1 title especially when you're first moving into engage because one of the things you have to do is you gotta target lock because you need to put that advanced targeting computer to work. I mean, I always run Vader with advanced targeting computer. Some of you might not, but I always do that. I will never run him without it. But now you can make sure you get your focus. And that's pretty awesome. You know, if you need to boost and you get into range 1, get that huge shot and have focus, target lock, and move, awesome. And then every turn after that, you can make sure you have the evade, so you can focus, you know, barrel roll and evade, or even boost if you gave yourself engine upgrade. It's gonna be really nice. And there's so many. There's a lot more combinations than this. So in the comment section, you know, tell me your favorite combination, maybe that I didn't mention, because I could literally be here all day naming every pilot that has some kind of free action with maneuverability. Sabine is another one. Snap. There's a ton. So you know, like talk to me in the comments about what you think, what you're most looking forward to trying doing shenanigans with Intensity. This is just a really cool card, and I love the dual cards. I love that they're doing more dual cards. I think dual cards have been very successful in this game so far, and I think there's a lot of potential. And I think we're all hoping for an S-Foils dual card for X-Wing coming pretty soon. So that's really cool. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to get more updates. You know, now that we've got this, it's only a matter of time before we get the rest of Wave 11. So I'm going to be doing more coverage on all of those articles as they break. Same day, hopefully within a couple hours as soon as they come out. I want to get all this to you as fast as possible. So if you click the bell, you'll get notified whenever I put new content up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think as far as intensity or what's your favorite stuff from this wave. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.